Welcome. We're holding this press conference today to let people know the status of the American Indian Native Studies course for the state of Texas. My name is Orlando Lara. I am a member of the Ethnic Studies Network of Texas and also the Ethnic Studies for Texas Schools Coalition. I'm a Klein ISD parent and proud father of an 8-year-old girl that is here and will be running around joining us in the Capitol. Welcome everyone that's joining us on live stream, and standing behind me is only a small representation of the large community that is standing behind American Indian Native Studies, and we're here to stand up for this course, and we're going to share some words about why it's so important for this course to be put on the agenda for September so it can be completed by November and available to students the following academic year. So I'd like to begin with our first speaker, who is Nathan Brown from the American Indians at the Spanish Colonial Missions, who have written a letter of support and are here today to stand up for Native Studies. So.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nathan Brown. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator at American Indians in Texas at the Spanish Colonial Missions. We came here today, 7 of us from our organization, which is based in San Antonio. It's the second largest Native American nonprofit in the state of Texas. And we do a variety of family-based services and programs for the indigenous people of Central and South Texas and other residents of Bexar County. We came here today because we believe in the importance of an American Indian and Native Studies course for all students in Texas. It's important for our Native students because we want to provide them opportunities and spaces where they feel welcome and included in the conversation, that they don't feel a part of stereotypes or people of the past as they're typically referred to, but that they have a sense of belonging in the classroom and they can see themselves and they can educate their co-students and feel welcome in general. For non-Native students as well, this would be a really beneficial course. Non-Native students would be able to understand their neighbors and community members better. The Native community in Texas is nearly 800,000 people or more strong. And so there's a huge presence in Texas despite the typical ideas of Native Americans and their cultures and the disappearance of their supposed nations. So what we came here today to do is to petition the State Board of Education and encourage them to put this course for review in September on the agenda. This work has been done and being advocated for the last several years, and so we're happy to be here today and to continue to push this fight forward. In 2018, the Texas State Board of Education called for 4 specific ethnic social studies courses, including Mexican American Studies, African American Studies, Native American Studies, and Asian American and Pacific Island. And so far today, 2 of those courses, Mexican American Studies and African American Studies, have been put into the classroom as official TEKS courses. However, Native American Studies has not been put in the agenda yet or given the full consideration that it's due, despite the overwhelming support for it, even compared to the other courses that are already in place. Several ISDs in the state of Texas are already using this innovative course in the classroom. It's been developed by a network of cultural experts and educators, and so we see no reason for further hesitation by the State Board of Education. We're excited for any opportunities and members that are willing to join together a committee to get this work moving forward. So I want to introduce my manager, Ramon Vasquez from AIT as well, to speak on a few words of the importance of this curriculum and why it's needed. So, thank you.
Tin Manam, everyone. Tin Ramon Diego Vasquez, Tin Coahuiltecan, Tin Pilam, Tin Auteca Paguame. My name is Ramon D. Vasquez. I'm a member of the Pilam Coahuiltecan Nation, the Auteca Paguame tribe. My people have been around the South Texas region for many, many generations, as far back as 8,000 years plus. And so I'm here today just to, of course, bring light to this important opportunity that we have right now. Not just us here that are standing here, not just the folks that put this course together, but the folks that are sitting in that boardroom up there, the folks that are making decisions every day for the lives of our Native people across this state. As Nathan just shared too, you see the vast majority of, or the vastness of this community across this state. 65,000 Native identified folks in Bexar County, 100,000 here in Austin alone, Dallas area nearly 200,000, Houston area the same. So there's a vast majority of our communities all across the state that really benefit greatly, not just our Native community members, but of course our non-Native relatives as well. How else do we get to the place where we know that living in cohesion and living amongst each other in peace, in harmony and greatness, in equality and equity, how do we do that without learning more and more about each other and each other's culture? This opportunity allows for us to begin that process and that pathway for solid understanding of what it means not just to be Native as Native people, but also for our non-Native relatives. What does it mean for us to live in this place, and not just amongst mainstream community and culture, but within our own culture, within our own beliefs, within our strong traditions and practices, and that be honored, and that be taken care of, that be cared for and acknowledged amongst different governance systems, different school systems, different healthcare systems. All of these things are of great benefit to us. This type of education helps support the rationale behind why even Indian health services become so important. Not just physical health, but mental health support services. Our communities suffer from, great health disproportions that this type of education and rationale behind why the historical trauma is completely and connected to these ideas, these disproportionalities in our data. And so that type of education really just kind of brings us home. For me personally, this type of study, could have been critical for me as I grew up in the state public education system. It was one where I have the privilege as one Native folk to engage and be brought up in our traditional ways and practices when I'm not in school. But when I came to school, it was a complete opposite. I saw nothing but faces that looked like me. All these brown faces that I believed were just like me. But my story was completely different. When I came to tell them about growing up in sweat lodge ceremonies and teepee meetings, for our NAC church meetings, I didn't realize that all these kids that looked like me did not know what that was like, did not know what that meant to them. So I had all these brown faces looking at me, but did not grow up like me. And that is the same type of rationale behind why this type of course is significant. We have a lot of folks that have identified continuously as Mexican American people, as Hispanic people, that have deep-rooted connections here in the state of Texas to their indigeneity, to their rootedness. And we want to help encourage that through this study and this course. So this opportunity is not one of that we take lightly, but it's also an obligation. Again, as the second largest Native American organization across the state, this is what our actions, are going to lead for the future. I have 2 little children that are going to grow up as indigenous, children within the Texas education system, and my hope is that they don't have to go through the same things I had to go through. And so this is why this opportunity here is significant. This is why we're creating a generational difference, for our people across this state and even beyond. These impacts that we have in this state obviously ripple across the entire country. So this is an opportunity for us to create that strength, that inspiration, and that empowerment for indigenous communities and our relatives, non-Native alike. So. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I appreciate you all and your time. I'm going to pass it over here to my colleague, Tony. So now let's thank you.
CBAM relatives, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Tony Diaz, and today I come to you as a recipient of public education as well as a former educator. I could not be more supportive of this initiative. I can tell you my own personal story that the public education that I received was woefully inadequate. And so what are the effects of that? Well, the effects were, in my case, was that I didn't feel that I belonged. From a young age, I saw and read about everyone else's history but my own. And so it was only through my own efforts and much cost, taking graduate level coursework, that I began to know my history and understand that I was intricately linked to this land, that indeed I did belong. And so I feel that not including our history, perpetuating this erasure of our history, is actually criminal. So this is long overdue. I want to thank everyone who's here in support of this initiative. And my hope is that moving forward, we can be more inclusive and let all the children of Texas know that they in fact do belong. Thank you. I'd like to pass it on to my colleague, Dr. Ken Roemer.
I'm Ken Roemer. My fancy title is Emeritus UT System Academy of Distinguished Teachers. But my relevant title is that I serve on the course committee that developed this. And I want to make 2 points. One about the nature of the course and the type of collaboration that created this course. The nature of the course, it's not just about saying that Native Americans are still here. It's about still here in many different ways. One of the things that our course was forced upon us, because this is the way you get courses through the high school, is we had a whole series of different standards. So we had to address culture, geography, economics, citizenship, science and technology, history. And sometimes this involves legal documents. Sometimes this involves learning things about how important basketball is, for example, on many reservations. Or really important, why do we call the course American Indian Native Studies? Can't you just come up with, what is it? One of the reasons is there is no general agreement. You can talk to 5 or 6 different people and get 5 or 6 answers. So by putting that little slash in there, one of the sub things we ask them to talk about in culture is, why is this? Why did they do it that way? And that will get students, as they read primary works, to see why some people want to be identified by just a general term, by their tribal term, by their clan. So in other words, what the state forced us to do was a good thing. We had to come at this from many, many different angles. Second point I want to make is what you see behind me. And that is, right from the beginning of this course, 4 years ago, this has had community and Native involvement. Starting at TCU, there was a fairly small gathering inspired by some of the most important Dallas-Fort Worth leaders. And then there was a big gathering of 70 Native leaders from Oklahoma and Texas. And basically what we asked them, what do you think this course should have? They set up these white sheets, and people went around and wrote a lot of things on it. And what grew out of that was a committee of 50 people. I think 14 or 18 tribes were represented. It got down to a core of maybe 12 people. That's how a committee works. But just the fact that we had several different, 14 different tribes, different ages, people living in different parts of Texas, that contributed. So that was right from the beginning. But what's come on strong, and this is why I'm complimenting the people behind me, in the last year and a half, 2 years, many different groups and individuals have come forth to support us. So I think I've been on, I'm not the youngest person out here. I've been on many committees before, and I've been on many committees that have developed curriculums, but I've never been on a committee where there's so much inclusion of the people that the course was supposed to be about and getting their input. And the person I'm going to pass the baton on to Taylor is an example of this, because we have another group that's supporting the course. We couldn't do it without that support.
Good morning. First off, my name is Taylor Trevino. I was born and raised here in Austin. A lot of my family's from South Texas. I'm also a former educator and a proud graduate of Texas Public Schools. And I'm also the vice chair of the Indigenous Peoples Caucus of the Texas Democratic Party. And I'm here today on behalf of them to urge Chair Kinsey to put the American Indian Native Studies course on the next agenda in September, and to urge all SBOE members to review and adopt the course by the end of the year. My notes moved down, my bad. And while I'm here as a representative of a Democratic group, this really is a nonpartisan issue. Dozens of Native and Indigenous organizations have supported this course and called for its full approval, along with dozens more allied organizations and officials. So these elected board members need to listen to their constituents and to community members, and to get this course, to a first reading at the next meeting in September. Many of the issues Native communities face stem from a lack of awareness and understanding about our people, our true history, and the ways this country's actions continue to affect us. If people don't believe that Native Americans even still exist, or that we continue to experience the impacts of genocide, displacement, and forced assimilation, how can we expect to make progress on the myriad issues that we continue to face? Allowing people to have a clearer, more truthful understanding of our past and present is necessary to create a more equitable future for Native communities. And this is not even to mention how impactful it will be for Native students to have the opportunity to learn about their own cultures and histories in the classroom. It's time for Native American students to receive the same level of academic representation that many other ethnic and racial groups already have. Despite this course having been piloted for years, we are still here making these asks because, as I've seen time and time again while advocating for Indigenous peoples' issues, we are often an afterthought, or as I was told once by a congressional staffer, not a priority. It's time for Native students and Native Texans to be a priority, and for the SBOE to add the Native Studies course to the next agenda in September, and to adopt it as a permanent TEKS-based social studies course by the end of this year. Pass it back over.
Thank you, Taylor, and thank you to everyone from the American Indians at the Spanish Colonial Missions who joined us. We have one more speaker that would like to share some words from American Indians at the Spanish Colonial Missions. Her name is Summerette Smith, and if you would like to come up and share some words.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Summerette Smith. Summerette Smith, Kiani National. Bashichi Luka Dishanelli Jini Bashichi. So what I said is, hello, my name is Summerette Smith. I am half Navajo and half Black. I come from the Kiani clan. One thing I do want to say is that working with AIT, it has been very informational, knowing not only things that I did not know in textbooks, but just working with them. Being a product of the school system, a public school system, I was always looking forward to November because that's Native American History Month. And anytime that month came up, I was so happy for it because that showed my side that I didn't know that well, my Native side. Predominantly looking more African American, I get mistaken to be more predominantly African American. And having the chance to be here with AIT and letting them know and letting know that people like me are here willing to stand with them and be with them. Learning myself in school, it was never fun. I only learned about other tribes that have done or helped other people part of different ethnicities. And another thing too is that working with AIT, I learned so much about their Native community that I never knew about, that were never in textbooks. So having this forward of this initiative of having Native culture and history and stuff that we didn't know into these textbooks can really benefit not only people from other tribes, but people within Texas, knowing that we're still here. We're not just pieces in museums that we can look at and be like, oh, that's cool. I can go to the gift shop and buy that. But actually looking at it. There's a joke in Native families where they're like, oh, we're going to the museum for a field trip. I would always say, it's always at home. I already see it at home. Why do I need to go? That's one thing that I like, that I want to have them bring out and for them to initiate into schools. So then when those months come up, like Ramon said, having kids of his own and them being able to see that in textbooks that have people that look like them, that even dress like them till this day, and still talks a language that is still known to this day, and knowing that for all of our community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samaret, for stepping up and sharing your experience. Once again, my name is Orlando Lara. I'm a member of the Ethnic Studies Network of Texas, and I'd like to just repeat some of the stats, the hard numbers that show the amount of support that the course has to this point. 74 organizations have supported the course to this day. 20 organizations have officially reviewed the course and said it's ready to go as is, as written. They've also endorsed the course materials, which are not a problem. In addition, 1,652 people have signed a petition calling for the course to be heard this year. 1,385 of those are from Texas. 127 are from District 15, which is Chair Kinsey's district. So his constituents have been calling and email him for several months now, asking him to add this course to the agenda. The course has got a lot of support, and the thing that bothers me is that this community, which is already not it is a large community, but numerically compared to Mexican Americans, even African Americans, it's not a huge community, but it's being asked to do all this extra work to prove itself, to prove its worth. And this issue isn't just about numbers. It isn't just about how many people have signed a petition. It is also an issue about human rights. Indigenous people have a human right to have access to their history throughout the world. This is part of the UN Charter. They have the right to be represented fairly in their countries. In addition, both Native and non-Native students have a civil right to information that can help them succeed academically. In the Moss Tucson case in Arizona, that was decided formally by a federal court. So we're talking about rights, human rights and civil rights here as well. This is also bipartisan. In 2013, Governor Rick Perry signed in a bill that established American Indian Heritage Day in Texas, which gives Native communities 1 day that school districts have to incorporate material about them. This course offers an elective course that students could sign up for if they choose for a whole year. So it moves in that bipartisan spirit. And then, as many of our colleagues have noted, the board itself voted in a bipartisan manner to call for ethnic studies courses in 2018. And this is kind of like they called us to the table. They asked us, invited us to create 4 specific courses. 2 of them have already been created. American Indian Native Studies is the one that's already ready to review. Asian American Studies is in the process of being created. So people were asked to do work. And what we're saying is, look at that work, review it. It's almost as if a teacher asks you to turn in an assignment and you did it, and then they're refusing to grade it. They're refusing to give you credit for it. So this course really deserves credit. Just a kind of a final note, the people are ready and willing to work with board members. We understand. I'm not an expert in Native studies. I was not someone that could offer my expertise on the content. We have people that have that expertise. We know that board members did not get to major in American Indian Native Studies in college. We know they don't have that expertise. All they need to do is trust the Native community, trust Native scholars and educators to have a conversation so that they can get up to speed and so that they can begin to offer their own ideas on how this course can be improved. And the community is willing to listen, willing to work with them to do whatever it takes to move this course forward. So our big ask is simple: bring the course up for first reading in September so it can be completed by November so that school districts have time to bring it into their course catalogs, and so that we end the uncertainty, we end the confusion. Because right now, some districts are backing away from teaching the course because they think it hasn't been approved by the SBOE. And just to be clear, any district out in Texas right now can offer this course. It's an innovative course for 1 more year. We're going to work to renew it, but what we really want is for it to become a part of the official TEKS. So Either way, any way moving forward, districts should begin to implement the course now. Don't be held up. We're going to continue working and doing everything we can so that this course can be an official social studies TEKS course and have the place that it deserves in Texas education. So with that, I'll close our comment period and open it up to questions for media who are joining us. Is our live stream good still?
Yes, but your phone is almost dead.
Okay, that's fine. So we'll go ahead and take questions.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, has the State Board of Education told you anything about why they aren't moving forward, or is it just been radio silence from them?
It was radio silence for a while. Of course, we know that the Democrats on the board are supportive of the course, and we've been talking to them throughout the process. But in the past few weeks, we have finally begun to hear from some conservative board members, and we believe that we can begin a conversation with them, and have good reason to believe that there's still bipartisan support for the course. That it's been more of an issue of folks just not feeling ready because it's such new content to a lot of people. And we understand that, but that's why dialogue is necessary. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm just sort of wondering, do you think that the national and statewide conversations around DEI have sort of had an impact maybe on that willingness to move forward on this?
I think it's definitely created confusion. And when we were watching the passage of SB 3 back in 2021, I remember clearly Senator Hughes saying, we want to teach all of history, warts and all. We don't want to exclude any element of history. But what we kept saying is that, you start passing these bills that are super vague and are banning things that people aren't even teaching, then it's going to create a chilling effect. A sense that maybe everything that has to do with race is potentially going to get someone flagged or fired. And I think that chilling effect very much has affected even the ability to have that dialogue. And the thing that I think it's what we're trying to convey is, yes, there's a lot of a sense that we're living in a hyper-partisan age, but that doesn't mean that we cannot find common ground and actually talk to each other. That's really a circus, and we have to put our feet on the ground and really deal with reality. And the reality is that there's a great course with great resources, and all we have to do is do the work, and we can get it done this year.
Last question, though, from me. It's still an available course for ISDs for a year. What would that process look like beginning in 2025? Like, what is the kind of starting over the process with the state again? The course is already done, but what is that process going to be going forward?
Well, from what we understand, this is a great question also for the TEA because they're in charge of some, and board members, because that's a question we have for them is what do you want us to do? But yes, of course, Grand Prairie ISD, the creator of the course, is going to continue to submit a renewal application, and that will get back to the board next year anyway. That doesn't mean that at the same time, the State Board of Ed can't go ahead and review the course for TEKS adoption. So that, the renewal application will be submitted, and hopefully it's approved. There's no guarantee, but hopefully it's approved. And what we're telling districts is trust that it will be approved. Our understanding is that it shouldn't be a highly contentious process. And so districts can have confidence that next year there will be an innovative course at the very least, and if not a special topics course. Either way, they can teach the course. But obviously what the community wants is for the course to actually be reviewed by the board. And that can happen September, November. It needs to happen this year. Thank you. Any questions for our community members? I myself am not native, so I definitely want to defer to them. Any questions you have just about the importance or value of the course?
We're going to try to grab some people for one-on-ones after.
Okay. Do you, anyone want to add anything, or if y'all done any work on trying to get the course added? Challenges? Okay. I didn't mean to take over, but they were very procedural questions. But yeah, folks, y'all can do some one-on-ones. Okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and close the live stream and just thank everyone that's joining us on Facebook. Sign the petition, call your local school district, talk to your superintendent, get them to start moving forward with the course. This will help the adoption process. So everything just needs to keep moving forward.